Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Lori.
This is my friend Catherine, and she joined me on my trip. She joined me in New Orleans, and we then went to Byram, Mississippi. Don't go there. And then we went to Memphis. Go there.
Yeah.
And then we're in Nashville.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to make a little video about how Catherine was able to come on the trip. And so, Catherine, tell your story about how you were able to come on the trip. What happened?
Okay. Well, Lori and I go to the same church, and we're also in the same home group. And so I had been praying for Lori and this trip. And I went to work one day at the end of August, and I just went like any other day, and they said, we've eliminated your position effective today. So I had no...
Not nice.
Well,
not nice at all.
They did what they needed to do, what they felt they needed to do. And, of course, I was kind of confused. It wasn't because I wasn't doing a good job. It was just the way it works in business. So I just said, I was praying, and I felt like God said, just let it go and trust me. And so I had been putting out my resume and applying for jobs, and I thought that was what I was supposed to do, and nothing was really happening. But about two weeks into it, one evening my husband said, I think you should meet up with Lori on her trip. And I went, well, that sounds great, but I don't even know where she is, and I don't know what her plans are, what her itinerary is. And then the very next morning, which was Wednesday, first thing is I get a text from Treva, and Lori's talked about Treva before, and so she said, this might sound crazy, but do you feel like you should meet up with Lori on her trip? And I went, well, you know what? Yeah, I think I am supposed to meet up with Lori. And the next question was, where and for how long? And how are we going to make this work? I mean, she's in a motorhome. If she had a flat tire and was delayed, and where am I supposed to go? So that was all of the prayers that went into it.
I did have a flat tire, but not on your part of the trip.
So at that point, I went on she sent the itinerary, and I said, well, how about New Orleans? She said, no, I've got 5 people I'm meeting there. And I said, well, where are you going from there? Do you have anyone on your trip? She said, no. So I thought, well, maybe from New Orleans to Memphis. And then I said, okay, Lori, so while you're praying, ask God to knock $100 off the ticket. And I thought, well, and her first response, as you would imagine, is, God can do that.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? No
problem.
God. You can knock off $100. That's nothing to you. But I wasn't even thinking that way. I said it kind of as a joke. So when I was looking at flights, I found a flight to Memphis. And originally, because I came into New Orleans, I'm leaving from Nashville. And when I looked at those 2 flights, they were almost $900. Okay, so that's where it was starting. And as I kept looking...
Yikes.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was really crazy, and I'm like, I can't do that. But from there, I kept looking, and it came down, it was still over $500. And then I said, well, let me talk to Roger, but I'm pretty...
That's her husband.
Oh, that's my husband. So, but God talks to him too. So I thought I might as well ask. So he came
Roger
home.
started all this
Yeah,
anyway.
he started all this. And I said, well, this is what it is, and this is what it would cost. And he said, well, why don't you just go to the next stop? And I looked on her itinerary. It was Nashville. As soon as I went to look at tickets, it was $100 less. Actually, more than $100 less.
Wow, God can do that.
God can do that. And now I knew that he brushed the job aside. He talked to my husband. He talked to Treva to confirm it. And in my own heart, he honored that request so that I would have absolutely no doubt that I was supposed to meet Lori in New Orleans and travel with her to Nashville. And it was just such a wonderful gift. So thank you, God, because you really do talk to people. And when you're listening, he really confirms what it is that he wants you to do. So I've had a wonderful week with Lori, and I will go home and I will continue to pray for the rest of her journey.
Oh, thank you. This is always tricky to shut this off.